Okay. Tea time. Let's talk about how it's okay to talk about your own life. Because there's obviously some confusion here about whether or not it's okay to tell your own fucking stories. Where do I start? Um, there are, there is always going to be the concept of your story and my story. Or, as I like to say, that person is wearing a mask in their car. In the car. In the car. In the car. If the air was so bad that we had to wear masks indoors, we would all be laid up in the hospital. We would all be laid up in the hospital. Do you understand that? If the air was that bad. And seeing as how the numbers have gone down, if her health is so bad, she's on her way to work. If the health is so bad that you have to wear a mask outside because what's floating in the air might kill you, you're too sick to go to work every day. So something's wrong. See, that's the problem. You've got people doing weird shit like that, and then you've got people who investigate and ask questions, like me. And people like us are hated because we ask questions. Humans deserve to know things about their own world. Just, I'm going to be hated for that, but I don't care. But anyway, what I'm saying is, there's always going to be. I love that dog. Hey, doggy. But there's always going to be, their story, my story, your story, whatever. And that's all fine and well, but like I was saying, as I like to say, there's your version, my version, and then the screenshots. So I'm going to give a little story about how I built my case without even having to for something and provided screenshots. This isn't necessarily relevant to anything specific because it's not necessarily quite the same, but it just reminds me. I actually told this story to someone yesterday, just to really clarify. There was a lady who sold me a car she didn't own. Of course, I didn't know that because people don't tell women anything. Women don't tell women anything. That's changing though, I think. But she sold me a car that wasn't hers to sell, and come to find out it was a repossession. But here's what happened. I worked with her at Food Lion at the register, and it was just a little rinky-dink side job. It wasn't anything big, but she did what a lot of women have done throughout my life, which is befriended me and really got on well with me. Like, she was a little bit older than me, so she seemed sincere, and I kind of trusted her. And I got to know her over several months, and we talked a lot, and we got on well. But that doesn't matter because it's fake. Because probably half the friendships we have are fake. And I've had women, especially. I mean, boyfriends have done this to me, but that's different. Not too different, but it's different. But women who we're supposed to be allies for each other because we go through the same shit, do we not? And we go through the same shit with men, and we go through the same shit with each other. So Because one woman can tell a story to a group about something another woman did to her, and everybody else is going to say, oh yeah, I've had that too. So there's a lot of common behavior, okay? And there's no reason to, dance around that or act like it doesn't happen. It does. But what happened was this lady, like, befriended me and got close to me, and I did what I do, which was trust. Shame on me. And word got around Food Lion that I needed a car. Oh, I got one for you. Really? Because I only buy something big, a big buy, like a vehicle. I'm only going to get that for somebody I know. I'm not going to go to a dealership and have, some man sit there with me and make an extra $2,000 he didn't have to make on, subscribing to, monthly cleaning services and having the seats weatherproofed and bullshit like that I don't need, because they've done it to both, because they tried to do it with Mom when we bought the Chrysler. And I was so angry that day at what he was trying to do. I almost fucking strangled him in that cubicle. Because they know women don't know what's going on. It never fails. It never fails. Every now and then they'll get a butch in there, or they'll get somebody who's smart enough to bring their husband with them, or some other man who can step in and correct things, because that's what's required in those situations. But I've had that pulled on me. Because they knew I didn't know what was going on. They know that. But anyway, this woman sold me this car from her driveway. And I didn't know any better, and I drove it back to my house, and it didn't run. It ran, just not very well. It needed some work, but I was willing to do whatever it took to get the thing fixed up and have it running so I could use it. Well, there was a sticker on the back, because my mom was trying to find out, the backstory of the car, and without having to do any real research, there was a sticker on the back from a dealership. My mom Googled that sticker, the name of it, and found the place, and it was right down the road. And we called that guy, and I said, hey, I just bought a such and such. I saw your sticker on there. What can you tell me about this car? What do you know? And he was like, you bought what? I said, I forgot even what it was. I couldn't even tell you what it was. It was a sedan, but besides that, I don't fucking remember, because this was so short-lived. This was like a blip in my history, but I just, that's all I can tell you. It was a 4-door. Probably some little stupid Toyota or something, but I don't really know. Anyway, so I told him what it was, and he was like, I'm sorry, you just bought that from so-and-so? Whatever her name was, I forgot. Deborah or something, or whatever. I said, yeah, we work at Food Lion together. And I was like, yeah. He said, yeah, I know she works at Food Lion. That's a repossession. She's not even supposed to have that right now, and much less you. And I was like, do what? What the hell do you mean I ain't supposed to have it? What the hell do you mean she ain't supposed to have that car? She just sold it to me, and I was like, I just gave her money for this. I was like, do you want to come get it? Because it barely runs. And he was like, I know it barely runs. This is why I got to come tow it. I've been looking for it. She had hidden it in her garage with the door down, and her brand new Ford 4-door, the little sedan, was sitting outside on the driveway outside, right? So every time he passed her house, all he saw was that brand new Ford sitting out there. Well, I said, you don't say. I was like, you what? You what, mate? You fucking what? I was like, nah, this isn't gonna work. Because I've had plenty of men screw me over, just for the sake of wanting to feel powerful. But I've had women do it too, and they not as frequently, but when they do it, it is just as bad as when men do it to you. It just doesn't happen as often. That's the only difference. But I have had women work very hard and devote a lot of energy to get close to me and get close and get in my life, get deep in my life and earn my trust and gain my trust, just to turn around and do shit like that. So I was like, and I had already, that was hard because, Dad hadn't been dead but for a couple of years, and we didn't even have a chance to mourn him, and shit like that, and things were just always going wrong, always going wrong, always going wrong. Because we lost the one person who was able to help us, gone. And it was like, that was like a fucking circus after he died. It was just a circus to me. And then things just went wrong and went wrong and went wrong and went wrong. And it's usually what happens when someone important dies. He still had everything like squared away for us, but just, all the rest of it, the things where you need a man who wants to help you and protect you, needs to be present. Those situations is what went wrong. And so me and that guy, I went down to his office, and we talked about that car, and he showed me the documents. He probably wasn't supposed to do it. I don't see how this would have been public information, but he showed me the documents she had signed where she knew that car was a repossession, and he showed me her last payment in his books, in his physical books. He showed me her last payment, and it was like 6 months prior to that day or something, and I was like, damn, I said, so she has swindled both of us. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, well, look, just follow me back to my house and you can get this thing. And he did. And he was like, look, I don't know what you're going to do next, but, if you decide to take her to court, give me a call. I'll speak up for you. And I was like, really? Because I've had friends say that to me, but I've never had a stranger say it to me, ever. But, I mean, this doesn't happen a lot to me, so this is the only time I've ever dealt with something like that. So I was like, well, shit, okay. I thought I've got somebody on my side for something for once. This is refreshing. And so we parted ways, and he took the stupid car. And I thought, well, shit, I'm back to the old drawing board, back to square one. And so I took her to court. And when I say I was determined to make it right and get my damn money back that I worked so hard for, because I had 2 jobs. I always worked like full time, like all the time. And I wasn't gonna be screwed like that, especially by somebody who took the time to earn my trust. Well, what is wrong with you? You wonder why you can't have any normal friendships or normal relationships with people or normal dynamic with anybody. Is because you're fake. Because eventually people are going to figure it out, because you're not going to be able to hold the facade forever. No one can. Except for maybe the queen. Besides that, everybody else pretty much buckles at some point. So, well, I took her to court, and we got there, and she was late. And we got there, and she already had like a new job and everything. Came in scrubs, and I thought, you're not a nurse. You're probably changing diapers. I've done that job, so I'm not talking down on it. But what I mean is, she tried to show up, making it look like she was this hardworking woman who was, going to be sincere and blah, blah. Well, we got in there, and the judge was like, this is bullshit. Y'all are stupid. So-and-so, take care of this. And he handed it to the mediator, and that guy, like, just pulled us into the hallway where everybody was, like, walking back and forth in a what do you call it, breezeway thing. And I had come prepared because I had a manila envelope with giant screenshots of not just the conversations we had, because I made sure everything was in text so that I could prove what the hell happened. Because I swear to God, I'm not going to be told I was lying. I'm not going to be told I was lying. I have no reason to lie to you or anybody else. And I sure don't have a reason to lie at the courthouse. The reason I'm at the fucking courthouse is because I'm pissed off about what happened. You think I'm going to lie? I don't have to. The damn story's so ridiculous, I can tell you the truth. It's fine. I'm confident about what I'm saying. I'm pretty confident. So we get in there, get to the hallway, And I had that packet of papers about that thick of proof of shit that was said. And so the mediator was like, he saw that and he was like, okay, all right. So you know what you're doing. Okay, what's your story? And he looked at her and she she told a little bit of the story, but she didn't tell all of it. When it was my turn to tell the fucking story, I told everything. I told every detail, like I always do. If you go back and watch any of my motherfucking videos, do I leave anything out? Do I leave anything out? I tell y'all everything. People deserve to know the truth. I'm not going to leave anything out. Why? Why do you think I've done so much research on shit over the years of my life to try to get to the bottom of something? You think somebody who wants to get to the bottom of things is going to turn around and retell the story and leave shit out? Hell no, I want the details for myself and for you. The whole point of telling the story is to get the story out. Why would I tell half of it? What would be the point? What would be the point of all these videos if I'm just gonna, you know, do like Gerald Gardner and tell you half the story and then fill in the other half with my own bullshit? There's no reason to. So, but she didn't go over the details, and I had paperwork. I had proof from the dealership guy that he was going to back me up if I called on him. And so I pulled all that stuff out, and he didn't even look at it because he saw who was doing what, and he was like, okay, no, you just put that away. He didn't even look at it. And he looked at her and said, look, we're gonna make this easy. You're gonna pay her back, and you've got until April whatever to do that. And this was like January or something. So she had time. But considering she had her brand new job and her brand new car, we all kind of assumed she could make those payments. And she did. She did pay me back. But, you know, I when somebody wants to say, you know, you don't have the facts, or you don't know what you're talking about, or you're not telling the full story, or you're not telling it correctly, I'm going to have to disagree with you there, because I make a fucking point of giving fine details. Do I not? Do I not give fine details? I don't understand. So there, you know, there's I could sit here and talk to y'all all damn day about things that happened to me and things that went wrong, and situations where people tried to lie and twist it and turn it into what they wanted to make them look good, and to make me look like I'm just some kind of devil woman that's, you know, out to get everybody, you know, because I'm unhappy with myself and I'm just out to destroy the world, you know, because I'm Cruella de Vil or whatever, or Ursula from, you know, Little Mermaid. So, I mean, that's fine. If people want to say that, that's fine. It's not going to change my life. It's not going to change my life. I'm still going to do things. I'm still going to live. You know, I used to hand over my power and let people ruin me and shit like that. I used to let that shit happen, you know, because I didn't claim my power. But things are different these days, and things work out differently these days for me, and it's not, I don't live the way I used to live. So when I tell a story, goddammit, I tell every detail, at least what I can remember, but I tell you the important stuff as much as possible, because there's no reason to leave shit out. The whole reason I'm telling you something is because there's a point behind it. There's a reason why I'm telling you the story. There's something I think you should know. Otherwise, why would I be sitting here? But what I'm trying to say is, that was just a little example, that woman with the car. Oh, and by the way, that dealer, that dealership guy, I trusted him after that, because he was so adamant to help me in court against her, because we had both been screwed. And I kept him in mind, and I thought, well, hell, he's a car dealer. I'm needing a car. We know each other now, you know, and had to deal with the same asshole. Why don't I just go see what he has? Well, I went down there, and drove one or two cars that seemed okay. And I was on my way the next day with the down payment for a car that he and I had agreed, I was gonna get. And I called him and told him I was on the way with the envelope full of money. And he told me that he had already sold it and had already sold a bunch of stuff. And but for me to come down anyway and look at what else was there, because he was more interested in just selling stuff than, because I didn't know how that worked. I didn't know that somebody could tell you you were gonna have something and and make the agreement, and then the next day it would still go to somebody else. I didn't know that that's how that worked. Um, so, but because I didn't know that, he knew that I didn't know that, and he pulled that on me, and I was so upset and I was so angry about my situation that I could have just killed everybody in sight. Like, I was so mad because I couldn't, just couldn't win. And no matter, and for years, for a long time, no matter what I tried to do, um, shit just went wrong for me. And there was always something or somebody that just twisted it and got, what they wanted out of the situation. And I was just sitting there, high and dry. And that happened more times than I'd ever be able to sit here and tell you. More times than I'd be willing to sit down and try to count is how often that happened. I'm not the only son of a bitch that's lived that way. There are millions of people who get screwed back to back to back like that. I'm not the only one. Um, Eventually it comes to an end because you get tired of people fucking with you and lying to you and gaining your trust, and then finally you get to a point where you don't trust anybody, and you do your investigating all the time on everybody who tries to get close to you, and you are sure to protect yourself. It's like it turns you into a paranoid person, and then you do that for a while, and then um, you get tired of that and realize you don't necessarily have to take it that far. So you'll take like normal precautions and just kind of go through life normally. It takes a long time to get to that point where you go through it normally after all the other shit. It takes a long time because it just takes a long time because you have to allow yourself to feel and process all that shit before the dust finally settles. But anyway, what I'm trying to tell you is, it is okay to tell your story no matter how bad either of you look in the story. It's okay. It's okay to say that. And the reason that I don't have, and you can ask people who know me, not just my relatives, but people that I've had in my life for years. But the reason I don't tell you stories about how I was some awful person that just screwed people over and I did a lot of bad things, a lot of bad people, and I've been abusive and I've been hateful and I've set out every day to ruin people's lives, and I've, you know, screwed people over before they could screw me over, and I was such a horrible person. I feel so bad about it now, and I just wish I could go back and apologize. The reason I don't have those stories is because I was never that person. And I'm not saying it to get sympathy or get people on my side or get people to like me or whatever the fuck. I don't give a fuck who likes me. I'm still going to live. I'm still going to go through life. That's one thing I've realized. No matter how many people hate me, it hasn't changed anything for me. I still do shit. But the reason I don't have stories like that to tell you is because I've never been that kind of person. I was raised differently. I was raised in a strict household where you weren't allowed to fuck up. And, you know, you weren't allowed to fight back, and you weren't allowed to stand up for yourself, and that's just how things were. That's just how things were. I've forgiven Dad all those things, especially after he died. I forgave him all that. I said, to hell with it. You know, I'm not. But as I got older, I learned more about him, and I didn't hold as much against him, especially after he died. I let it go because I knew it was over. I just accepted it. But I grew up in a old-fashioned household. And people don't realize that people still live that way. That was only in the 90s. It wasn't a long time ago. It feels like it, but it wasn't. And because I was raised like that, you know, and I was especially raised, you know, not to question men, because you just didn't do it. And, you know, you did what they said, period. And if you tried to question it or God forbid, challenge it, you know, you got decked, and that was it. And, and, I think I was finally, I was 15 when it occurred to me one time that he hadn't hit me in a while. So I'd say probably around the time I hit puberty was when he quit hitting me. And I don't hold on to any of that now, you know. I don't physically feel it on my body when I think about it like I used to, you know, so my fibers have released that. But, you know, you just didn't speak up. And so so my boyfriends, you know, told me what to do, and I did as I did as I was told, and that was it. That was it. And I was fucking miserable. Fucking miserable. That was horrible. And I did that up until a couple of years ago. Not knowing, you know, that I could fight back or just say no. If I didn't want to do something, just say no. But I did that up until a couple of years ago. The last boyfriend that I really let push me around was the one that lives down the road here. He, you know, I had to delete online accounts and all kinds of stuff because he accused me of some things. Well, he told me I was a skinhead, and I'm not. I'm not. If you know anything about the people that have been in my life, you know, my associates, my friends, people I've known for years, people I got along with, I'm definitely not a skinhead. It got so bad, him telling me all the things that I needed to work on within myself, you know, and then I'd be a good person. It got so bad, but the skinhead thing, that I got tired of hearing it, and one day, I went to my room before I knew I was going to see him, and I printed out pictures of people from my life that I had befriended over the years. And some of them I was still friends with now, thanks to being online. But I printed out pictures of people and my associates over the years who I was friends with, and presented that to him. That's how bad it was. That's how much I thought I had to prove myself. And and I lived here, but I lived down that way. And he parked his car out there, and I came down the steps and sat in the car with him in that stupid white Jeep, and showed him pictures of people that I had known, and had the backstory for each and every one, how we met, how, you know, what all we did, and the fun times we had, and shit like that. And I gave the story for each person, and how you know, good the friendship was. I was so angry. I don't know if you can hear me over that guy. Hang on. But anyway, I was so angry about being accused of shit from somebody who not only was allowed to get between my legs whenever he wanted and tell me what to do all the time, but also didn't have the backstory on me and was accusing me of shit that wasn't true, and you know, didn't know enough about me to start, like, just, you know, making up stories. And I was so angry as I sat in his car showing him pictures of people that I knew. My hands were shaking, and the pictures were shaking like this. Just tremble. That's how mad I was. If I'm so angry at you that my hands are shaking, you need to get out of the way, because I'm about to kill you. Just get out of the way, because I'm about to blow. Because once I start shaking, that's it. I was going to turn it back. I've been in arguments with boyfriends and they're the only ones that I let push me this far. But I've been in arguments where my knees and legs were shaking because I was so mad I could have just tore them in half. And I've had that, I've had that feeling, and I know how that feels because, they tell you you've done something or you said something and it didn't happen. It hasn't happened. That's not what I said, and you go to war over whether or not you said or did something. And it's like, why are you telling me? I know I didn't say that. Like, why are you, so that makes me angry. False accusations piss me off because I was there, bitch. I know what I did. But anyway, the real point of this video, even though I went off topic a little bit, was that it is okay to tell your story and talk about your life, because I do it every damn day. I don't care who gets pissed off. I don't care who gets their feelings hurt about me talking about my life. My life. I'll tell whatever story about me I want to tell. What is wrong with you? Are you kidding me? Don't say that about so-and-so. No, it's my life I'm talking about, not yours. Not his, not hers. I'm talking about my life. That person just happened to play a part in that particular segment of it. But the story's about me. What the hell? Go ahead and tell them. Well, Miranda said blah, blah, blah. And? Shit. What are they going to do? Come over here and shoot me? Do it. Try it. I have guns too. Just... I don't care. I'm allowed to talk about my life. I'm allowed to talk about my life and the things that happened and the things I had to learn. My life lessons. You're allowed to talk about your life and your life lessons. You're allowed to say it. And that's it. Just because I don't leave out details, doesn't mean I'm trying to just absolutely sabotage that other person's life. That's not it. But I gotta tell what happened. I still have to tell what happened, because I have to tell what happened so I can tell you how I learned what I learned. If I sit here and say, well, I learned one day how to blah, blah, blah. If you'd like to learn this too, you can work with me and I'll coach you and blah, blah, blah. And everybody's going to say, how'd you do it? That's going to be the first question. How'd you do it? Like this. Boom, boom, boom. So I can either, if I'm going to sit here and call, the video I posted yesterday, if I'm going to sit here and have the nerve to call myself a women's life coach, I need to know what the hell I'm talking about. I need to know what I'm talking about. I can't get on anywhere. I can't get anywhere on my little soapbox and say, well, I know how to do this and do that. Well, everybody's going to say, well, how do you know? How do you know? Well, and then what? I've either got such and such degree where I've studied everybody else, studied everybody else's life instead of my own, or I've got my own damn experiences that I had to claw myself out of. That's how I know you can do it too, because I did it. I can explain to you step by step how I do shit, because I was there. What else would this be? What else would this be? There's no matter how much you tell the truth about something, there's always going to be somebody, somewhere, who's going to stand there and say, well, that's not what happened. That's not true. You're just a lying bitch. And you need to you need to get your facts right. Y'all can just, anybody who thinks that way, you know what? You just think that. You just go on thinking that. Because I really don't care. Really don't care. I'm still going to talk about my life. And, if that pisses y'all off, that's okay. There's plenty of people to watch. You don't have to watch me. Go watch somebody else that tells you what you want to hear, since that's more important than just getting the truth. So I'm going to leave it at that. But what I'm trying to, my main message here is that it's okay to tell your story. It's okay to talk about your own life. And, you can't worry about somebody getting pissed off or somebody finding out, because the truth is going to come out one way or another. And even if that doesn't happen, you can still sit there and know that you told the story the way it happened. Rest assured that you told the story the way it happened. Your friends will support you. The people who have known you for a long time will support you and believe in you, and believe what you say, because they know you. And that's all I can tell you. That's the best I can tell you right now, really, on that topic. And you just have to stand by what you know happened. It'd be different if I was getting online every day and just like pulling shit out of my ass, just to like keep y'all entertained or make me look good. I don't care about looking good. I don't give a fuck about that. I like to post funny stuff, to make people laugh, because I like to do that. But I'm not worried about looking perfect or being like having the perfect image and not ever saying anything that might, cause an argument or might cause, whatever. I want clarity. I want clarity above all else. Let's get the story. Especially if it's about my own damn life. I'm not gonna, if I have no reason to tell you anything besides what happened. I got 20 fucking stories I could sit here and tell you, for the next hour. If I could squeeze it in. I don't think I could, but I mean, what I'm saying is, there's, I have no reason to tell you different from what happened. Because I have to explain how I learned the lessons I learned. How else would I get to that? How else would I explain myself? Because there are coaches who get online and, or write books or whatever, and they talk about what they went through, and or they talk about the lessons they learned, but they may or may not give you the details as to how ugly it really was. I'm willing to give you the details as to how ugly it really was. Which is why my posts especially piss people off, because I say shit that, shouldn't be said. Well, no, but it happened. It happened. So yeah, it should be said. Because that's the story. And if it makes so-and-so look bad, you know what? Don't worry about it. I'm not out to sabotage. That's not the point. But the point is to bring clarity. And make sure everybody's on the same fucking page. In case there's anything that's up for debate. Because I'll squash it real quick. Like, I'll be like, okay, no. Here's the deal. Oh, P.S. Here's the screenshots to prove it. Usually I have that, if nothing else. There have been many times when I've had to go back and screenshot something in a conversation and send it back to that person and say, this is what you said. Scroll up. That's why texting and messaging is so good. You can prove what was said. It's right there. The son of a bitch typed it out with their own stupid little thumbs. I mean, it's good. That's good. You can protect yourself with that. And I have done it. So, but don't be afraid to tell what happened. I don't care how humiliating it is for you or the other person. That doesn't matter. The humiliation or whatever, that'll go away. That's going to go away. Whoever's embarrassed is going to live. They're going to live through it. Okay? They're going to live through it. Because you had to live through what they did. So they can stand a little bit of shame. As long as you're telling the truth, you don't have anything to worry about. That's it. So, that's all I'm going to say on that matter, but just want to say thanks for listening to that, and, thanks for sticking by me, for those of you who do. Thanks for sticking with me, and thanks for understanding that, I'm really just doing my best like everyone else is, and that's it. That's all there is to it. We're all working from our best angle. So, that's all I want to say on that topic, but thank you.